Hello, everyone, to Internet and Computer Basics and Your Digital Footprint. My name is Matt Robinson.
And my name is Mike Vanny. It's very nice to talk with you today about some basic internet and computer, good keeping.
Staying safe online and being able to identify your digital footprint, which means the information you leave on the internet when you're doing your surfing and your shopping, etc. And so today we will start with some advice, mainly regarding surfing on your mobile devices and on Windows 11 machines. And so we will start off first by keeping you safe. So we've got a few recommendations for antivirus software and anti-malware software. And what malware is stands for malicious software. And that can be viruses and things like that are looking for information on your system or looking to damage your operating system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the products that you're going to recommend to us here, these have been around for a long time. So they're well known, well trusted. And they're all completely free. And that's super cool.
That's right. And they are free to download and free to run. And you just have to update the virus definitions to keep it up to date. So the first one is Malwarebytes. And you can get that from the website below. Or if you just Google Malwarebytes, it should take you to the right site. And then
they're going to try and sell you the premium version. You do not need the premium version. The free version is fine.
That is correct. The next one is Windows Defender, and this is actually installed already on your Windows machines. I think it's on Windows 10 and Windows 11, and this is your traditional antivirus software.
Yeah, surprise, you already have it.
Great. Yeah, surprise, easy. That one's super easy. The next one is Super Anti-Spyware. You can get it from this site here, and again, the free version works really well. There's no need to pay for the upgraded version unless you want it to automatically scan your system. That's pretty much the difference between the pay version and the free version, is that the pay version will keep it up to date for you and scan your system for you at certain times.
And spyware basically is products that are on your computer that you would have collected from a website or something that keep an eye on things on your computer, whether it be internet traffic or what you're doing on your computer or various things. So it's not good to have it on your computer. This is pretty easy upkeep, and with it being free, there's no reason not to have this on there.
Yeah, very privacy based. Okay, and so I guess we can start out. It's pretty basic. What is the internet? So the internet is a series of connected computers, and so that has global reach. We all connect to each other in various ways, and that is how you basically store things on the cloud, or you're viewing things from YouTube. It all is basically information on someone else's computer that you have access to.
The most important thing to remember is that when you connect to a website or to a product, you are connecting to another person's computer in some form, whether it be a server or a service or something. Somebody owns that device, you're connecting to it. Therefore, you're sharing information all along the way.
That's right. And that's really important to remember. And when we talk about digital footprint, we're talking about that information that you're essentially leaving on someone else's computer when you're accessing it. And so basically, they're the digital traces that you leave when you are viewing a YouTube video or you're shopping online. The websites are taking information about you, and largely they're using it to advertise to you at a more efficient pace.
They want to sell you stuff.
They want to sell you stuff and make money essentially off of your information. And so a lot of people don't realize that that's basically the number one thing. And if you're using an online website or product and it is free, usually you are the product that they're selling, whether it's information about you, they're selling your browsing history, etc. So that's something to think about when you're using free services. And so we really want to look at your digital footprint in 3 steps: protecting your privacy, preventing data exploitation. So that would be people selling your browsing history for money. Basically, you're limiting the information that you're putting out there online. And for security purposes, you don't want your banking information or your address, any type of valuable information about you to be freely given out on the internet. Data is like gold.
It's about keeping yourself safe and ensuring that at all times you're in full control of your data and the environment that you're currently in.
And so the most common ways your digital footprint is created is through social media. So a lot of people are putting information readily about themselves up on their social media pages. So that includes address, your high school, any information about yourself that is usually secret or not publicly known. People are just throwing it up there willy-nilly without any thought of what is visible to their 1,000 Facebook friends, 800 of which you've never actually met before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Online shopping is also a area you're going to get a lot of digital footprint and tracking things because, as we mentioned earlier, these websites are trying to sell you things. So they want to know what is this person interested in buying? What are they clicking on? What are they looking through? And that is all very, very valuable to somebody who is selling you the products that you're looking for.
And you will notice that a lot of that, the online things that you're looking for will appear in ads on social media. So basically, if you have Googled, you're looking for a weed whacker, and then you go to Amazon, link for it, eventually you'll start seeing weed whackers being marketed to you on your social media ads.
Maybe in a discount even.
Maybe even a discount because it knows you're looking for one. So basically they're using that information to make it more efficient to sell you things. And then email communications. So there's a lot of scams running through emails who are trying to get information from you. And so it's important that you know who you're communicating with on the other side of your emails. And so basically social media collects this kind of information about you, whether or not you give it up willingly or not. So that's usually your profile information. So your full name, your username, profile picture, whatever bio information you have put up there, your contact information. So it would be email address and phone number, even full address sometimes, depending on what social media you're using. I know there's some running apps that use your GPS, and so that's technically social media as well because it has a social media aspect to it, and that's tracking you essentially all the time, right, with your location data, and then everyone you interact with.
Yeah, some of the terrifying. I have on the side here the list of access that TikTok requires. It can take pictures and videos, obviously, because it's a media app, but then it gets a little bit. From there, it can access your precise location using GPS. It can read the contents of your SD card. It can modify or delete the contents of that SD card. And then it goes into further full network access, view your Wi-Fi connections, prevent your phone from sleeping, control the vibration, install and uninstall shortcuts. It can toggle your sync on and off. It can change your audio settings. It can reorder your running apps to ensure that it's always at the top and always getting the most internet. So a lot of these products, not only are they collecting data on you, but they're also in some ways hijacking your phone to ensure that you're constantly using them as well.
So you may wonder why your battery is running out faster than usual. That's because TikTok is sucking it dry with all of its permissions.
Taking it, yeah. And with it running constantly like that, it is constantly then collecting more data. Therefore, it is just continuing this cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually, the power that it has. And it's all in the terms of service. You agree to it when you use social media.
As soon as you download the product, yeah.
Yeah, and it even asks you, like you give it the permissions when it asks to access your contacts, your phone, your pictures, all of that stuff. So online searches, if you're using Google, like we'd mentioned, if you're searching for a weed whacker, Google has all that information about you, and they will sell it to Amazon or Facebook to basically advertise to you.
The website visits, this is commonly heard of as cookies, but also website analytics. These are essentially when you visit a website, it leaves little trails behind that marked off that you had visited this website.
And included in that is your location data. So especially on mobile devices, it's always looking at where you are located in the world, and it will market to you depending on your actual physical location. in this country or that country, and you'll get specific ads based on what's near you. And so you mentioned cookies. Basically, a cookie, when you visit a website, it saves a little information about you, such as your preferences, your login status, how long you spent on the website, and other identifying information about you as a user.
Yeah, and authentication data is also stored in the same way. This would be if you go to a website, you click on the username, and then it wants to populate the username and password, or you've told the page to remember my username and password in some way, shape, or form. Usually these are encrypted. However, it's a lot easier if somebody gains access to your system to also gain access to your accounts this way too. So we'd always recommend that you choose to pump in your username and password rather than having the computer remember it for you or saving it into any of the password files within a browser. Always make sure it's behind something like a password locker of some kind that only you can access.
And using unique passwords at everything you sign into.
Yeah, don't reuse your passwords.
That's right. Yeah, make specific passwords for every service you sign up for. And so we'd mentioned that the internet is basically a connection of computers, and so that includes cloud storage. So if you're using Google Drive or Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive and you're saving pictures and data to those drives, essentially you're saving it onto Microsoft-owned computers. And so what that looks like is probably a huge building with just a bank of servers that are seriously the size of a football field worth of computers. And it just uses it for storage. And they can be, like I said, huge and tall. And some of them are just like disguised as a regular building downtown with no windows. And you don't even know, but that whole building itself can be used as a server bank.
Yeah, online surveys and forms would also be in this type of idea. And this is when you purchase something at a store and they send you a survey and they want you to fill out the information, or other specific survey websites exist where they might give you a little bit of money or some Amazon credits or other things in compensation for filling out surveys. But essentially what you're doing here is you're giving them the information directly rather than having them have to work for it to grab it from you. So this is also something to very much be on guard with. We're not saying don't fill out the surveys, but we are saying be very careful what information you pump into there, knowing full well that you're handing it directly to those companies.
Yeah, that's right. This kind of marries the offline world with the online world, because I'll go and get a tea somewhere and then they'll be, hey, fill out the survey to tell us how we did today. And then you do, and it asks you all these invasive questions that you don't necessarily need to answer when it comes to just, 5 stars.
Yeah.
And tracking cookies, which we'd mentioned already, is just a little information about you that it uses to give you more unique advertising. And it also allows you to get that when you go back to that website, it pulls up the information a little bit faster because it's already saved on your computer. So using messaging and chat apps, basically the same thing. If you're using Telegram or WhatsApp, those types of apps, all that information that they have, and that includes the information that you've typed into a message and didn't send. So if you're ever really mad at someone and you typed out a big long message and you said, maybe I'll save that one, and then you delete it from the window, they have that information about you. And it's basically just logged away on their app servers.
Yeah, streaming websites and various content consumption areas like Netflix, YouTube, they're keeping track of the videos that you watch, and then from that, they're then making recommendations. Have you ever heard of the phrase "the algorithm"? Essentially, that's essentially what's in play here, is that they're monitoring, analyzing, and then delivering back based on their findings of what you might like to keep you watching more of their content, continuing the cycle of consuming their content.
Yeah, keeping you engaged. That's their metric, is engagement. And so smart devices and IoT, which stands for Internet of Things. So basically like your Alexas and your Ring cameras, those types of things that are not necessarily computer devices, but are connected to the internet. And so they also collect a huge amount of data on you. Some of them, even like if you've got a Roomba, it will map out your room as it's doing its little cleaning. and then send that information back so it knows. So the Roomba company, the iRobot company, knows exactly the layout of your house. And so that's just something to think about when you're getting these types of smart TVs and any new smart device that has this stuff built into it. And so messaging and chat apps. So here's some recommendations. So there's two different types. There's secure, which is end-to-end encryption, meaning that the information in between them is secure, basically like it's a protected tunnel. So nobody can get them unless they have your phone. And then there's not secure, which means that basically the information that and your text between two people is sitting on a server somewhere, and that person, if they access that server, they can see all of your information. And so the ones that we recommend using are Signal. And so I know it's been in the press lately. It's got some bad press from some people using it, but it is ultimately the most secure messaging app. And then we've got WhatsApp afterwards. And so this one I'm hesitant to even recommend at all. It does use end-to-end encryption, but it's owned by Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram. And you can't really trust those companies to not sell your data and go through your messages and advertise to you. So I don't recommend it, but it is technically secure. iMessage is secure, so that's an end-to-end, and basically that's Apple's own end-to-end encryption. Telegram, which is partially encrypted, and I wouldn't recommend that one either. And then Threema and Wickr, I think haven't really got off the ground yet, so we'll see how secure they are in the future, but they're just something to watch out for.
Yeah, and on the other side of this, so Matt was mentioning the ones that are encrypted, which basically means you own that data and you're in control of that data for the most part. These products are not encrypted. Therefore, this means that someone else is essentially watching. So these would be your Facebook messengers, your Google Hangouts, Skype, which is Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Instagram, Facebook again, Snapchat, Twitter, Discord, and Telegram. Telegram being is partially unencrypted, so it kind of sits the fence between the two. But the idea here is that these products are not the places for any type of conversation that is A, private, or B, something that you wouldn't want these companies to know that you're having a conversation about.
I threw Telegram in here because it's sort of both of these things.
Yeah, it sits on the fence. It's like in between.
And it's becoming pretty popular, so I just thought it would be good information to know.
Yeah. As far as it goes for these chat programs too, the important thing to remember is the chat program itself, because I know you had mentioned Signal with the bad press. The chat program exists in itself. There are good and bad people who use these products. So always be cautious of who you're talking to. If a random person sends you a Signal request, it's not a good idea to accept it. If your best friend sends you a Signal request, that's perfectly fine. Assuming it's actually your best friend.
It falls under the same rules of any other platform regarding scams, right? Always be smart about who you're conversing with and what you're clicking on. So public records. So this is a big, huge one. So there's lots of laws about your medical records, government records, right, to protect all of those. So giving that information up on just some survey is not a good idea.
Yeah, online forums and communities, places like Reddit or other types of community boards that exist out on the internet. Obviously, they leave not only your comments and your contributions, but a lot of these websites also track things that you watch, that you look at, that you interact with, and they are constantly using that data for other purposes as well.
And it's always accessible. It can be archived. And then, so even though the forum was removed or you deleted your comment, they could use archive.org to go back a few days and get it back
Retrieve
again.
It. Yeah.
So nothing is ever gone. And then LinkedIn. So this is a big one. People just throw their entire resumes up on there and they want to be public. And the idea is you're publicly reachable and people can find information about you, but they could also use that information against you in many ways. So it's important to be smart about what you're putting up there. And so to manage these, to manage your digital footprint, there's a few things you can do. So review your privacy settings on all of your social media apps. Remove yourself from the public searches on them, and then remove any information about you personally. Remove your high school. Remove your job. Make sure that there's nothing up there that is unique to you and can be used in any way to social engineer or essentially steal access to one of your other platforms.
Yeah,
and use strong passwords as well. Use strong passwords as well, like unique passwords we had mentioned, and a password manager. Do you want to speak a little bit about password managers, Mike?
Well, there's many different password managers out there. A quick search will locate you various kinds. There's free password managers. There's paid password managers. It can be as simple as a Excel sheet with a password on it that's only locally stored. Whatever works best for you. The intention with a password manager is that it keeps all of your passwords under one roof, so to speak. However, it has a master password that only you know. The best way to go about it is to obviously just remember what your passwords are, but that can be very difficult, obviously, when we're also saying that you want to use unique passwords for websites, which means you're not reusing any of the passwords you use. A trick that I've used in the past to help make secure, strong passwords is to use something called a passphrase. These are long passwords. They're typically in the range of 16 to 30 characters long. So they're basically a sentence. However, it's really easy to remember. For example, if you're logging into Facebook, you could make your password, my Facebook password is red1. And that entire thing essentially is now your password. It's now easy to remember, and you don't have to write it down somewhere. It's also very, very strong.
Yeah, for sure. And you can make your passphrase essentially anything at all. You can even have it be 3 random words, as long as it's at least, what did you say, 12 characters? At least 12 characters
At
long?
least 12, yeah. At least 12. The longer, the better, though.
Yeah, the longer the better. Avoid common words and personal information. So make sure it's not your dog's name or anything like that. And so this is the time it takes a hacker to brute force your password. If it's less than 8 characters and it is numbers only, it's instant. So the longer it is and the more complex, the longer it will take for someone to brute force it. And so brute forcing is just trying passwords in a system. And so it's not a person sitting there. It's basically a bot. And so it can try passwords and work its way systematically through the series of passwords to guess your password. So the longer and the more complex, the longer it will take. Another way to protect yourself is to use two-factor authentication. So this is a big one. And so we'll have another video specifically about two-factor authentication, setting it up and what it all does. But the long and the short of it is basically it is a second factor. So you have to interact with and prove your identity before it allows you to log in. So even if Mike had my username and my password and I had two-factor authentication on, it would ask him, are you sure you're Matt Robinson? And you'd have to say yes on a device that only I have access to. And so a version of this is an SMS text message where you get a message sent to your phone with the little code in it. So you're probably already using two-factor authentication on some of your devices already. So it's really important to make sure that it's set up on all of your online accounts. And I think you can set it up on any social media account that you have.
Yeah, a good habit to get yourself into is regularly clearing out your browsing history and making sure that your data has been cleared every so often. The intention here is that there is no lingering spyware or malicious intent data collections in your device whatsoever. Most devices have very easy ways to do this. Oftentimes it's just into the settings. But do check your browser's settings on how to clear that out and get into the habit of doing that on a regular basis.
Another way to protect your traffic is to use a VPN service. And so this is a little complicated. We will talk about this in a later video. But basically, it connects. We talked about using the an encrypted data with messaging, and so this was basically encrypting all of your internet browsing. So it is secure end to end. You can't have people pulling your data out in the middle of your transmission. So minimizing your social media posting, basically limiting what you're posting about and where you are. So say you're posting about a trip you're on and someone knows you're not home and they can go in and potentially rob your house, which isn't so much of a digital footprint problem, but a real life problem that pertains to your digital footprint.
And oftentimes I hear people saying, well, I only share that picture with my direct friends. And the reality is you're sharing it with, if it's Facebook, you're sharing it with Facebook too. Your friends who received that post could share it to their friends, and they can share it to their friends, and so on and so on and so on. And before you know it, a bad actor gets access to that data and they're able to do something with it. So it is crucially important that you be very careful with what it is that you're posting, and always assume that everybody can see that post, because that way you'll be the safest with it.
And according to the terms and conditions of most social media platforms, when you upload a picture to it, they own that photo. So they can do whatever they want with it and put it wherever they want.
Exactly.
And so using encrypted messaging apps. Sorry, go ahead.
We mentioned earlier about talking with text messaging and messaging apps. So just another reminder, do make sure to use those encrypted messaging apps. If you're not using Signal, it is a very good messaging app to use.
And be cautious about public Wi-Fi. So connecting to public Wi-Fi at like a library or a coffee shops or an airport, if it doesn't have a password to connect to it that you need to plug in, be very careful about it, because it could be basically what's called a man-in-the-middle attack. So somebody could set up their own little Wi-Fi in their backpack at like a Starbucks that is sending out a Wi-Fi connection, and then just name it Starbucks Wi-Fi, and then you can connect to it. And so you could connect to it, and then from then on, any information that you send to a website, whether it's shopping or banking, that type of thing, they have access to it as it passes through their device. So don't connect to any public Wi-Fi that doesn't have a secure passcode. So in summation, monitor your online presence. Make sure that you are limiting what you put up on your social media platforms, and just be smart about your social media usage.
Yep. You're going to want to reduce the Internet of Things devices. Those are the ones that we spoke about earlier. The more of these devices that exist in your space, the more data that is being collected on you. Oftentimes these devices are home automation services such as Alexa or the Google Home. And these products literally will record your conversations and then use them to create ads or attempt to capitalize on the data that they're collecting from you. So definitely reduce the number that you have in your possession.
There are also a number of off-brand Ring camera type devices that connect to the internet, and then you can remote into them to view them from your phone or from your computer from another location. A lot of times they are unencrypted, so anyone who has that IP for that device can connect to it and watch them. And so this is the really creepy part about this, is that make sure your Internet of Things devices are encrypted and connected to a reliable and it's a reliable brand, or just don't use them at all. And then using pseudonyms. So go online and use fake information about yourself, like a nickname, anything like that. As long as you don't leave personally identifiable information about you, you'll be safer for it.
Yeah.
And so that's it. Thank you for coming. If you want, you can scan this QR code. It will take you to a link tree with a bunch of resources, articles, all sorts of fun informational stuff about what we were just talking about, and links to download Signal and all of the apps that we had talked about here today. So thanks for coming.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye bye.